My name's Lucinda. Currently, I work in the field of genetics full time, and I'm also a qualified life coach now. So I do that in my evenings and weekends. I also have another weekend job, but that's stopping soon because I am doing too much. But yeah, I started working with Shimrit in 2020.
Yeah.
I think. So it's been a long time that I've been working with her. And sometimes I just think, what would my life be like if I hadn't met her? And it would not be as good as it is now. Definitely not. And I've continually come back to work with Shimrit and to learn and grow more as she's learned and grown in her business as well, and released more courses and has more information to help everybody. Like, I've come back to learn from her because she's such a good teacher.
Thank you. Yeah, you're saying it's 2020, and when I think about it, you were literally one of the first clients I've had when I went online. And this is such a beautiful, actually, I didn't even think about it before we decided to do this talk today. And how it relates to today's topic. When I think about it, it's literally when I have put myself out there with my message, with my passion, with my story, wanting to reach other people that I knew were waiting there, and I didn't know how I'm going to meet them, and how are they going to be attracted to me, and how am I going to offer my service. And you were literally one of the first. When I think about it, I did not think about it before this very moment. So that's even more perfect for our conversation today. So Lucinda, maybe you want to start with your story, and where were you before we met? What led you to, what resonated with you, with me in the first place? Like, how did it all start, and where were you back then?
So when I met you, I was in quite a low phase of my life. I've always struggled with anxiety and depression, and I had fibromyalgia as well, since I was like 11 years old. And in 2019, I had a breakup that was quite devastating for me, which kind of spiraled me into a worse place. But I had done a little bit of hypnotherapy and counseling for that. So I was kind of coming out of it, but I noticed I was kind of stuck in patterns. So I was trying to date, I was attracting emotionally unavailable people, or people that were taking advantage of me because I'm a very kind and giving person. And so I started looking more into like spirituality, and so my granddad also passed away in 2019, and that kind of opened my mind a bit. Just the events that kind of led up to his death just opened my mind to spirituality. But after Googling spiritual stuff, Shimrit's advert came up on Facebook. So it was obviously targeted to the right sort of people, because I found it, and booked a free call with you. And yeah, I really liked the sound of you. You just sounded really lovely, and it was exactly what I needed. And having tried lots of counseling and therapy in the past, and it hadn't really worked properly. Like, I was constantly up and down, going in and out of depression, and I didn't even realize I had anxiety until I was in my late 20s, because no one had ever picked up on it because it was very high functioning. But yeah, so I just needed a different kind of route and a different kind of approach to it. And Shimrit really had that for me, like lots of different sorts of psychology techniques and therapy techniques. And it's helped me more than any counselor ever did, any therapist ever did. So I'm hugely grateful. I'd even tried CBT in the past, but it didn't hit in the same way that Shimrit did. So the way that you taught it and the way you incorporated it with other techniques just really changed my whole life. So I feel like I originally signed up for 3 months with you, and in the first 2 months there was such a hugely massive difference that I was like blown away. And now obviously it's been 2 years, and I look back and I think that's a different person. That's not me. And I look back at some texts to my ex-boyfriend and the way that I spoke. I was so like I hated myself for my whole life. I hated myself. And looking at the texts and how much of a people pleaser I was, and oh, let me do this for you, let me do that for you, being like sickeningly sweet and not having any boundaries. It was just evident in my texts, even. But now I love myself, like inside and out. As someone who has also had body dysmorphia in the past, like I don't feel like that now. Obviously, it's not completely gone away, but I can manage my thought processes so well now. If I start to get anxious, I can get out of it. If I start to feel low, I can get out of it. Like the ability to let go is probably the biggest strength you could have. Because once you can let go of it, you don't go into that spiral and you get back into the present moment, and nothing's overwhelming anymore, and you can just be happy and stay happy and have that baseline level of contentment. And I think that's something I said to Shimrit I wanted from the first moment we spoke, and
Yeah.
I've got that. That was amazing because I never thought that was possible. So yeah, that's my story.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm all goosebumps as I'm listening to you. And you said, who's that person? That's not me. But then, however, there's another side to it, isn't there? Because it was you and it is you, and it brought you to who you are today, and it has given you the wisdom and the experience, and the understanding to be able to help others. And that's where you're going with this right now. So maybe you can share a little bit that aspect of the journey, and where it led you up until this point.
Yeah, so after working with Shimrit for a little while, and she told me about where I think, I can't remember if I asked you or not, but you told me where you'd kind of been trained. And so I went to the same school that Shimrit was trained at, and I qualified as a life coach as well, because I wanted to be able to help people in the same way that she'd helped me. And also having the knowledge from my own experiences quite often does help other people as well. So that was 6 months worth of training, and I got my diploma, and then I just have been coaching people since. Yeah, so it's really, really rewarding helping people. And as I learn and grow, and as I coach other people, I learn more. So I can learn from other people's experiences as well, and kind of apply that to my own life and my own practices. And it's really, really interesting. Um, but yeah, so I think where I'm at now is that I am aiming to build life coaching into a full-time business, a full-time job, because as I said, at the moment I still work in genetics, but it's not fulfilling to me. I don't get to help people on the level that I want to help them. I want to help people on a very deep level, and a way that's going to change their lives for the better. And even just having a few sessions with somebody that can do that as well. But yeah, I've always wanted to help people, and that's originally why I went into science, because I wanted to do cancer research or something like that. But as it stands, it's really hard to get into the research sector, and I ended up in a biotech company and working from here instead, which helps people in a roundabout way, but I feel like a cog in a machine, and I want to help people hands on. And so when this kind of presented itself as an opportunity, I took it, and I've really enjoyed it, and I still really enjoy it, and I'm very passionate about it.
Absolutely. So before we go into that further, and your vision and what you're now working on creating, the next level of transformation, before we go there, maybe we can talk about where you've came so far. So you've mentioned a few things already, the level of emotional freedom that you have, and this level of self-love. Can you I know that there are a few other results from our work previously, before we reached what we've been working on recently. And so I think that would be just so inspiring to hear, for example, creative projects or other goals that you've set for yourself, and now they are part of your habitual routine life, and then we'll go back into the coaching and the business and your vision for that.
Yeah, so when I first started working with you, I like didn't believe in myself really, and obviously I felt I was useless and worthless. So every day I practiced the affirmation, I'm worthy of love and respect, every day, twice a day. And that was how the initial kind of reprogramming of my brain started, in a very simple way, but really effective. And so I have, I mean, now it's definitely developed into I can do anything. If it exists, I can do it. If it exists, I can have it. But even after working with you for like a couple of months, I wrote a song, which I never thought I would be able to do because I am musical. I can sing.
Boy, she
And
can sing. You would be like, go and check her out on YouTube. Your jaw will drop with this voice.
oh, thanks.
No,
But yeah, I thought I can't write songs. I thought I can't write music, and I could play the ukulele, I can play the violin, the piano, but I just was like, oh, it's not something I can do. I can't do it. But one day I just was sitting at my desk working, and just these lyrics came to me, and I love writing, and I'm very good with words. So lyrics has never been a problem to me. But then I just sat there and thought, you know what, I can kind of hear it in my head anyway. So I just got the ukulele and started making up some kind of chord pattern. And then I just did it. I just wrote a song in like one evening. It was madness. It was like just channeled through me, and then it was done. So I did something that I thought I could never do because I actually just did it and stopped berating myself or being like, you can't do something. Or so yeah, without that mental block, it just came. I haven't written another one since. That was just one thing that I wanted to do. But yeah, that was crazy. I guess the other really important thing is like making healthy choices with relationships and opening up communication and being really healthy with my boundaries. So when dating, obviously there's a lot of people out there that aren't necessarily dating for the right reasons, or they're not the right person for me. They're not very nice, some of them. But the good thing is I can now pick up on that really easily. So if someone is there to take advantage of me, I know straight away. If someone is taking the piss, or I'm sorry, if someone is going to be like that, I can pick up on it really easily, and just I know how to trust my intuition now, and I know how to listen to it. Whereas before, it was really hard for me to determine what was my intuition and what was fear. Now I have a much better understanding of it. Intuition has always been really strong for me because I'm an empath, but I didn't know necessarily how to use it or how to hear it properly.
yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely developed into something that's like a great tool for me now. Whereas I used to feel like overwhelmed and couldn't be in the room with people who were in a bad mood because I just absorb all of their emotions. Whereas now I have that awareness of what's mine and what's theirs. So if I'm starting to feel something that's not mine, I can recognize it and go, oh, hold on, that's not mine, and then let go of it. And it doesn't bother me anymore. Like I can be in a room with people who are mad and not be affected by it. And yeah, I mean, I've had so many positive changes from working with you. It's hard to remember and list them all, but there's some really, really big ones, because I used to be in quite toxic relationships with narcissists, and because I'm an empath, I automatically attract narcissists. But not anymore because I won't stand for it and I can recognize it. And because I have much higher self-worth, then I won't take treatment less than I deserve.
Absolutely. Have you experienced any physical changes as a result of that? You know, as you shifted your mind and your vibration, really loving yourself more and appreciating yourself more. Because everything, just like relationship, everything in our physical experience, body, relationship, money, work, all of everything in our physical experience is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So can you see other reflections in that physical realm of those shifts that you've created within yourself?
Yes, very big ones. As I mentioned, I have fibromyalgia, and I had it since I was 11 years old. I was diagnosed when I was 16. And for those of you that don't know what fibromyalgia is, it's full widespread body pain in your muscles and joints, headaches, IBS, chronic fatigue, loads and loads of different symptoms just kind of all grouped together and a label slapped on it. And the doctors don't know why it happens and they don't know how to treat it. So I had tried lots of different treatment, and not just conventional medicine, but also like homeopathy, herbalists, tapping methods, everything. Nothing had worked. So I was always in pain, always tired, found it really hard to do things and to cope. But since working with Shimrit, I barely notice it anymore. Nothing, basically. So the only pain that I could say that I get is like from sitting at a desk. You just get like pain here. Everyone gets that. If I get really stressed, it can get triggered a little bit. But the thing is that because I cultivated my internal environment into something that's healthy and calm, that's why my body kind of got out of fight or flight mode. It calmed down, activated the parasympathetic nervous system as much as possible through meditation and exercise regularly. So now I go to the gym 5 times a week, and I've lost weight. I'm healthy. I like to exercise. So yeah, just such a massive difference from having all of those symptoms for, how old am I now? 30. So since I was 11 until I was 27, I had these symptoms. And now, finally, they're gone. And it's because I was able to step out of victim mode, for starters, and manage my anxiety, which I obviously didn't know I had for a long time. And so I did my dissertation on the causes of fibromyalgia as well at university, and that still didn't help me because it was still like nobody knows. But now I do. It's a chronic anxiety disorder. Like now I know that's what it is. It's stress manifesting as physical symptoms. And it's not to say that it's psychosomatic, because it's not. It's real. You really do feel that pain. You really do have that tiredness, but it is caused by your brain. It's caused by your mind, by your internal environment. So that was hugely life-changing, because I didn't think I'd ever be out of that much pain. Like sometimes I would go to the hospital because I was in so much pain, and they'd just say, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just IBS, or it's just fibromyalgia. It's like, yeah, but this is so painful. But yeah, I don't feel that anymore. So that's really, really good.
That's so amazing. So amazing. Congratulations. Such an inspiration, really, to hear this. It's amazing. All right. So let's go back to nowadays. So first of all, in your job, although you feel like a cog in the machine, you have had transformations there as well, right? From like promotion and more space and recognition of what you have to offer, which is a lot.
Yeah. So actually, when I started with Shimrit, there wasn't anywhere for me to grow or be promoted to in my job. But as I started working on my self-development, started working on my boundaries, I was always the yes girl at work. So everyone asked me to do stuff all the time. I'd be like, yes, that's fine. Yes, that's fine. Didn't matter if I had time to do it. I'd do it anyway. And then I started to push back, and people were like, what? You said no? I'm like, yeah, I don't have time. Which seems like the most obvious thing to say, but I never said that. But when I started to do that, I was actually recognized more than when I just said yes to everything. And it was almost like that manifested a position for me to be promoted into, because they created a new position and gave it to me. They didn't interview anyone. They just were like, we want you to be this manager now. So then I was managing the European team. And I was like, wow, okay. So that's what I do now. I manage the European team for sales operations. And yeah, I'm much happier in this role, being able to delegate, being able to manage people and look after the team and make sure everyone is getting like the right amount of workload and doing the tasks that they're supposed to do. So I'm happier in that I can kind of look after some people as well. And yeah, it's been a really good learning experience being a manager.
That's so good. And that's already, when we talk about serve like you deserve, it's not your business and your real bigger passion that we will be talking about now, but still you are serving like you deserve. So you're being more recognized, and you use your time and energy more in a way that is more right for you and more respectful of your own boundaries and needs. And then you are actually serving the company better and your team better and taking care of others. So that's a great example of what we were talking about before. And so now you have a vision, you have a passion, you have something that you want to create, that you are building while you're working in your current role. So and I guess that's what kind of brought you the last time around recently to work again with me, as I am. So for those of you who are not connecting the dots, I used to work with people much more with people like Lucinda, who was struggling with anxiety and emotional struggles, and I still do. However, as my business grew, and I think I was sharing some of that on our first day, yesterday on our first session, people asked for my advice and help with their business. So that brought us together again, right, Lucinda? And you've been going through Thinking into Results and Business Builders with me in the past few months. So can you share with us what you're working on creating right now, and how has that been helpful for you so far?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I am trying to build my coaching business, and I'm wanting to help people with their self-love and confidence, and also a bit on anxiety as well, but mostly self-love, because that's something that I never had, and I see a lot of people that don't have it. So that to me I'm quite passionate about that. So once I got my diploma, I kind of started this, and then I have a bit of I used to have, I don't have anymore, a thing where I would get interested in something and then get bored really quickly. So I'd hyper focus on something for a little while and then get bored and then do something else. I was very bad at finishing projects, but that's something that I have been working on. Shimrit helped me kind of be aware of that. And so I have been able to keep this passion to a high energy level and keep it going. So really what I want to be able to do is help people on a personal level. But I also want to be able to eventually write books because I love writing. I want to be able to help people like through reading. If they can't afford to have sessions with me, that's fine. They can buy my book. And then I want to be able to go to schools and help the next generation of students, the next generation of humans, feel good about themselves, be able to love themselves. Because if they're going to all grow up having fibromyalgia, they're going to all grow up having depression and anxiety, like it's just not nice. I could help them skip that entire part. If they know how important self-love is from a young age, I would really love to be able to help people know that.
Yes. Beautiful. Absolutely. And you can actually, you've started writing a book at some point as well, but maybe a different kind of book than what you're mentioning right now, but that's another endeavor that you started. So can you share with us, well, I actually haven't shared it all here yet, so maybe you can help me with that. What tools have you been able to find working together on taking those first steps with building your coaching business? In what ways what tools?
So the whole business builders package has been really, really helpful. I took a lot of notes on it and there's a lot of really good basic starting points, especially if people are not very familiar with social media, which I am. So for me, like I kind of knew that part anyway, but anyone who's not super familiar with it, it really outlines exactly how you can utilize each platform, which is really, really good. For example, I don't really use LinkedIn, so it had something on LinkedIn, and I was like, well, I could start using LinkedIn because all the steps are here outlined, and it said a lot about how to lead generate organically, which is super helpful. And then it's also like not just how to generate the leads, but how to nurture the leads, how to get them interested. You want to get them excited about everything. You want to keep the level of excitement up, and it tells you how to do that. It tells you how to keep them engaged. And so this has all been really, really valuable information. And then of course, like how to sell, because in my line of work at the moment, it's business to business, it's not business to consumer. There's a very different way of selling. So to be able to have that knowledge as well has been really, really helpful. Specifically handling objections was really interesting to go through that part, because it wasn't just like how to handle objections on a call with them, but also how to handle objections with your content before you even get on a call with them. Like post stuff that's going to be handling objections before you even get them to talk to you. So I thought that was really, really helpful as well. And then with the thinking into results, it was really very structured, which was good, because when I worked with you one-to-one before, what we did was amazing and worked really, really well. But there was no like, if I want to do this again by myself, how would I do that? Like I wouldn't have been able to necessarily know what steps we'd taken. Whereas thinking into results is transferable to anything. So it's transferable to anything in your personal life and anything in your business life. And with every goal you want to reach, you can then go back to the start and do the same exact thing every time to get to your goal. And that's why it's really, really helpful. For me as well, it personally brought up a lot of challenges that I wasn't necessarily aware of, like money blocks. I had such a massive money block. And it's just brought up, like, it talks about the terror barrier as well. And I realized that sometimes I am still getting that fearful voice and thinking that it's logic, but actually it's fear. So yeah, it was really, really helpful, really eye-opening. And hopefully it will help me push through to reach any goal that I want to, specifically this one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all this, Lucinda. And it's so good to see you. And yeah, do you have any last words? If there's anybody listening now and thinking, oh God, this sounds great. I don't know. Will this work for me? Can I trust this? Is it worth it? Or, any kinds of doubts that that people might have when needing to take a decision. And we will be talking about the power of decision actually tomorrow. But if you have anything to say to this one person having this specific conversation in mind, hearing your story and this invitation that we're basically you're helping me extend here, then do you have any message to anything to add to such conversation?
Yes. I mean, I could add a lot. Shimrit is amazing. Like as a person, amazing. As a teacher, amazing. She has so much knowledge. She knows exactly what people need. She's always there. She holds people accountable. She's always there for support. And as I said, I will continue to work with her if I want to learn and grow more, because she's just fantastic. This investment is in yourself, it's in your life. And it will come back to you tenfold. For example, I was never happy. I was never ever happy, and now I'm always happy. And I can't put a price on that at all. Can't put a price on it. And if you want to achieve your goals, if you want to achieve your dreams, and if you want to even help other people achieve their dreams, you need this knowledge, because it will help you and it will help them. So highly, highly recommend. Can't recommend enough. Yeah, if anyone ever wants to talk more about it, I'd be happy to. But honestly, it will be the best thing you ever did. And that's always what I say. Best thing I ever did in my whole life was clicking on Shimrit's advert. That's it.
Oh, so much, Lucinda. Thank you. I really can't thank you enough. Now I need to, my muscles here get tight now. Thank you so much, my dear. I love you. I'm grateful for you. I will talk to you very soon. And yeah, thank you so much for coming and for sharing your story.